Put on the emergency sport.
Spare and
Great glass in case of emergency.
Everybody's here. So I have a motion for the approval of the minutes as listed.
To approve the minutes, do you want me to read the dates?
You don't have to.
Then I won't.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Then we have Erwin Margaret's.
Yes.
Have a seat. Okay, that's numbers 2 and 3 tonight. I'm sorry, yeah, 2 and 3. You know why you're here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's 2 of them.
I know what they both are. One's for serving a minor, and we already paid that ticket. And we did serve a minor. She looked over 21, she ordered a beer, didn't even drink it, and ran out the door.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as she ran out the door, she was a cop. And there were 2 other cops in the bar.
I don't think there was the minor thing.
She was 20.
Maybe that one's still coming.
No, they're both on here.
Okay, hang on a second. So I thought this one was somebody who was out in front of your bar.
July 11th and July 19th.
I have no idea what they both are. I know what the one is.
Somebody was out in front of your bar after they were in your bar and exposing himself.
I
And
think we called the cops on that. And they busted the guy at the bus stop because he ran over to the bus stop.
I think he
Yeah, he
fell
peed in the
asleep.
parking lot.
Right.
He ran over to the bus stop. He left right away. I don't even think we served him. And I called the police. and sent him away
I think
for
he
him.
told, he said 1 beer, so, but truthfully, I wouldn't have called you in just for that one. It's the other one, you're being called in on the bottle one.
Okay, no,
On
I'll
filling the
explain
bottles?
that. I won't deny it, but I'll explain it. We had 20 cases of beer, 40 cases of beer in the building. They took none. First they said they were taking all. I said, go ahead, we'll be at the court tomorrow. Then
You said this, no?
the officer told me I had 40 cases of beer in the building. He said he was taking all. I said, no, you're not. And they held me on 70th Street while your guys raided the bar, which is fine, because you're not allowed to drive somebody else's vehicle. I was driving another vehicle registered, another man, 91-year-old man. He said, is that your car? I said, yeah, it's my car. His wife gave it to me. He died. He
Okay.
bent over to pick up a dandelion off the sidewalk.
Okay, once again,
I feel like we're getting more info than is in the report.
this must be another one that's coming to us, because I don't
There shouldn't be one.
I don't
got
see
2
that, I
tickets
don't see it
that.
on it. This is where, there was a complaint. Okay.
Yeah, by my bartender. She thought I'd lose my license, I'd get my bar named a nuisance. I'd lose the license.
Well, refilling the bottles, that's
Yep,
this.
I'd go to jail. My wife would turn the bar over to her, just give it to her. So she called and reported. After she filled the bottles herself, I haven't been to court on that yet.
Mr. Chair, sorry to interrupt. I
Go ahead.
anticipate there being further actions that this committee may or may not take, and I'll bring those to the committee going forward. And so I just caution the committee in terms of too much prejudging of this case prior to getting those additional documents and findings.
And I don't even know about them.
There's nothing drafted right yet
Okay.
that I have.
So, well, like he says, we're calling in because we got this to, so you're saying I can't say anything?
You can say whatever you want, I'm just telling you.
Don't prejudge.
Yeah, don't prejudge the case.
Yeah.
It'll be,
Okay, what it
I'm
says
not-
here is that, there was another bartender that, so it said, oh yeah, he does that. And so there was 2 bartenders that said that, in the police report.
Dana Berkey and
And Mr. Chair,
Holman Hunt.
yeah, if I may, what Mr. Magritz is explaining are lots of violations that we didn't know about, but we didn't know about it until you just started talking and telling us all about this, and now I'm really concerned. And so I think what we should do is hold these items and wait for those other violations to come before us, so we can
Well, these
act
are-
appropriately when we have all of the violations
That's fine with
together
me.
at one
Well,
time.
these are just reports. We can just, we can just place these on file. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can just place these on file because the other thing's coming, it'll be coming down separately, correct?
correct. And we'll be able to consider whatever I.
These are just from
reference
off
in those.
the original police report.
Yes.
first time I've been here in 8 years.
Or you can keep them open and they can all pair up together and you can have it on the same date. It's however you want.
Okay, well, number 2 and 3, then we're just gonna hold on there, but,
Can I be contacted by mail? 'Cause I
Yeah.
haven't got any other tickets in the mail.
okay.
Have you moved recently? You're still at your address
still
of
am,
record?
yeah.
Just want to make sure that we don't get this.
I live in Dousman,
Okay.
in Island View Court. I've been there 16 years. I'm not moving. I'm not giving my house to my bartender who thinks she should own everything I have. She's now gone. I caught her selling cocaine in a bar the day after I had a heart thing.
I think you don't want
Okay.
to, I think you want to stop
And
talking.
sir, I'm gonna tell you something right here on the record in front of everybody. You should be quiet and you should listen, okay? This turned out worse for you because you just talked and talked, like, listen.
I got it.
Just be quiet and listen, okay? That would be your best way to handle things when you come before a committee like this again,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And do you have a lawyer?
No, I don't. I'm not getting one.
You may want to consider hiring.
Well, if I'm gonna lose the license, I'll get one. The bar's up for sale.
All right. Okay, you'll be contacted down
Thank
the
you,
road.
sir.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Yep. Robert Anderson? Robert Anderson? He was noticed and everything properly? Can't hold it, maybe he's coming. Number 5, he called me.
Which was that one?
Red, white, and blues, yeah. He called me and said that he lives with his brother apparently, and he didn't get the letter until late and everything, and he couldn't change wherever he worked or something, so he wants to put it on the next agenda that we have. And once again, it's just a police report. Yes,
Mr. Chair, if I read that correctly, it sounds like when we did our actual research into it, that the new license was in the mail, it was in the process of getting there?
well, that's what he said,
Okay.
is that the clerk's office didn't get mailed something to him.
Oh, I thought that's what the officer said, I'm sorry, I
Oh, okay.
misunderstood.
It was mailed, Mr. Chair. It was
Okay.
mailed earlier in June, and he didn't get it apparently. So he did have an active license that was issued, he just didn't have it.
In his hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what else was?
It was a serving a minor.
Yes, okay, so we'll still have them in.
Sure.
But we'll just, our next meeting, we could even have them in a council meeting too if we wanted to. So or can wait a month, it's not, I don't know if it's that big a deal.
No.
Okay,
Man, it was so quiet for so long.
yeah.
Interesting.
Summertime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Turlock? Beecher Liquor and Beer? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Tarlock did call me. He is out of the country right now. This is the server clerk at the store that sold
Sir?
the alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah, but he will appear when he gets back in town. He spoke with me.
okay. So you thought the person was old enough, you didn't card her, or?
I thought she was old enough, and I didn't card her. I usually card people every day. They don't like me because I card everybody. And it's
You
just
obviously don't card everybody.
Okay, just that one time.
Mr. Chair, if I could, do you have a ticket from this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, has that been resolved yet?
I plead guilty.
And I don't care what you're doing with
Yeah.
it, and eventually you might come and see me for that, but I guess at this point, our main issue is gonna be with the license holder as opposed to the bartender, and so the fact that she's here is all well and good, but she'll have other,
But we usually been calling in the
Both.
person who
Both?
actually sells both of them,
okay.
you know, to know everything, you know, what really went on.
And so-
Well, actually, I got.
She doesn't really have like a Fifth Amendment
Okay.
ability not to incriminate herself on a civil case, that's only on criminal cases, but, we can just be mindful of that protection for people, that we don't compel them to
Okay,
make
so,
answers for things.
so our lawyer's basically saying that,
Thanks for coming in.
yeah. it is. Thanks for coming.
We'll be
Yeah,
able with the owner.
We'll deal with the owner then.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
because, yeah.
You're still working there?
I don't really work there. I just help them out
Okay.
now and then. I don't. It's not like an everyday basis.
You have a license, a
Yes, I
bartending
do.
license? Yes, sir. Yeah.
I do have it just so they,
Yeah.
if they leave the premises.
You're there.
I'm there and I have it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Christine Budnick,
Bootiak.
Woody Hacker. Okay, so I have my glasses. Okay, and you know why you're here?
Yes,
And
that's,
this is the person that served?
yeah.
And so,
Same concern about the server. Yeah.
The case was settled yesterday.
Okay,
Oh,
then
I
I
see.
have no concern.
Okay, so, well, with circumstances, I mean,
Sure.
Right.
So, evidently the police had been running a sting that night to
Right.
see if people were
Lines,
carded.
right.
A young lady came in, I believe it was around 11:30, and she came in the exact same time as another friend of mine, sat right next to him, so I assumed that she was with him. Ordered a drink at the same exact time, so set down the beer in front of her, and that was that. Got a call on Sunday from the officer just letting me know that I had served a minor. She did not consume any of it, but if I could say anything, what I hear from these guys all the time is card. I just assumed, and I should not have.
right.
Is
Okay,
it fair to say
obviously,
you learned your lesson? And you're not gonna do it again?
How much is that ticket?
Pricey.
Yeah.
How much was the ticket? You settled it
It was
yesterday.
$187.
Okay. We keep hearing 182, maybe it went up.
27 is, they do their own thing over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you have anything to say?
The letter said too that, will we get also a ticket as the,
Okay, no, it used to be that you'd get a ticket and he'd get a ticket,
Yep.
but you only had to pay one, and it was confusing for people. So I think we only send it out to the bartender, whoever, the server, whoever it is now. So, place looks good, by the way.
thank
Just
you.
to let you know.
Good
But,
One day it'll be done.
but you gotta,
Mr. Chair,
hold on, Wayne.
Paul, Chris, the one thing we ask is how are we gonna make sure this doesn't happen again? You know, and obviously this wasn't the police walked in and found underage kids in the place. It's like, it was our compliance check. But we wanna make sure that you make it an important notification to your staff, the importance of this. I'm sure everybody knows how much the ticket is at work now, right? Make sure you tell everybody at work how much the ticket is. Yeah, because it's an important issue to us.
You have to card everybody, so it is, I've been doing this 30 years, and I know all of a sudden a guy comes in with somebody else, you know, I assume that they know that it hurts my business if they're coming in and they're gonna bring a minor in. You know what I mean? Cause they should almost get a ticket for doing that too. I mean, we've had some questions about what the legality of a minor is. If people can come in, they can eat if they're 18 at BW3s, which serves 70% alcohol like us, but it's in a dining room area. So it's kind of just, there's kind of like two different things. So you know, as far as, cause it used to be a minor on premise and then serving a minor. So those are the two tickets.
Right.
Cause the only time we've gotten tickets in 15 years is the 2 compliance checks. It's like, so, but everybody does know.
And how many times did you pass a compliance check, do you know?
No idea. I would imagine they've been doing it for 15 years, so we at least twice a year.
Yeah,
so.
we don't tell the winners, so to speak.
The winners.
Congratulations, thank you for running a, we
Well, next year.
will next year?
Say,
Yeah, when
one time we
when
talked
meetings
about
with
doing that.
licensees.
Okay.
We should.
No, what I'm saying is, you know, maybe we should let establishments know that we ran a compliance check last week.
You
Just
And,
send out a letter, thank you for.
yeah, thank you for being compliant.
Thank you for being compliant, we will be back.
I
I don't
thought
think we
did-
do.
I thought we did that, I thought we did that years ago, I don't
I
know.
remember posting that and,
Yeah.
you know, but we do take
Usually
it very
it's-
seriously.
Usually it's a bar network, you know, this weekend, they're running checks, so make sure. And I don't know how they knew that they were running checks, you know.
Oh, it takes one, the person got caught. So,
Yeah, I mean.
well, just watch it from now on, so do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, one
Oh,
quick last thing, I'm
sure.
sorry. We did just have 2 suspension or revocation proceedings on 2 other bars that had revocation, compliance check issues, 2 underagers in a year period, so.
Yeah,
it shouldn't
warning.
happen again.
We're taking this pretty seriously now, so if you have something else like this again, we're saying like within a year?
That's what the law says,
It's
especially
a
if
12-month
it's,
consecutive period.
if it's a undercover operation, you can only count them 2 in a year.
Okay.
But, so you asked about tickets for licensees, and the mechanism for some remedy is we pull you in here and there's a suspension or revocation proceeding.
Yeah.
So,
Do you, and this is just on my end, do you take in account the volume of some
No, we
places?
can't.
You know what I mean?
No.
Because some places only
Yeah.
serve 2 people a night,
where all of a sudden we'll serve 400 to 600 people on a weekend.
Go to Miller Park.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I know, that's,
Yeah.
No, we don't think so, but.
do they do compliance checks on that?
It's not the city of West Allis.
We don't.
It's above the pay grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move to place on file.
Second.
Okay.
Wish it was a dog park meeting today.
There
was a community
Any further
improvement
discussion?
foundation.
All in favor?
Aye.
We opposed? Got one done.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Roll call? Rocio. Oh, man, that doesn't look good. Yeah, I suppose it does.
Yeah, it is.
Rocio Castro.
Hola.
Hello. Okay, you're working at Las Palmas.
Yes, sir.
And did you just get a ticket for serving a minor?
Serving police undercover.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's first time for about 20 years, so I feel so bad for that. I made mistake, a big mistake.
I noticed that you're a citizen of Mexico. Do you have the authority to work here?
No, here in Milwaukee area.
In the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that before we give you a license.
Can we ask that?
Yeah, I was working
Just
for
did.
18 years in Milwaukee area, El Beso, El Fuego, and I had 2 years working for Las Palmas. So I get ticket on Las Palmas last summer.
A lot
Okay.
of federal applications have, are you legally authorized to work in the United States as a qualification, so that's kind of where we can draw the line there. It's not necessarily a licensing thing, because you don't need to have a job to get a license, but it's something to consider, especially truthfulness and everything else there.
Okay, so on the application, let's see, you left a space for any violations that you had, and nothing was put down.
Oh, I don't know why. So I came like month ago and paid for my renewal license. It's already paid and everything. And she said I have to come into the meeting only. So I don't know why.
Well, you come into the meeting because you're recording that you served the person just recently. And so, there's a number of things on there. The other ones are easier to read by the gentleman, the other ones are very much easier to read.
Yes.
The old ones.
Yeah, we like the old format.
Because we don't know,
It looks like one thing is what it came out to, was one case. Remember the cycle number is the,
yeah,
so it's one thing back in '07.
right.
Yeah.
So you got that, and the serving a minor, which I don't even think's on here yet. So,
Mr. Chair, just regarding that, police department do 2 additional checks, local and through the Department of Transportation, and violations like that generally are only at local level, so they're not sent over to the state, and they won't show up in these reports.
But you should have extra reports that would indicate.
so has anybody got any more questions or discussion?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve.
Second. Mr. Chair.
I'll get this one more. Alderman Webb.
I just wanted to reiterate how important it is for us that
I
you
know.
check IDs on
Yes,
everybody,
yes.
especially in a restaurant, because, people come in, they're maybe eating, walk up and grab a margarita or something like that, so,
I know.
yeah,
It's a big responsibility. I know.
yes.
Yeah, and they've
And I feel
they've had their
bad.
share of problems there also,
Yeah.
so we have to, you gotta watch it even a little bit more,
Sure.
okay?
Mr. Chair, I'm speaking way too much, I apologize. At this point in the meeting, we also can ask if she's any evidence of rehabilitation. We brought her in for a record issue, and so we should allow her that opportunity if she wants to talk about whatever happened after the ticket. We should
Yeah.
make that opportunity.
What changes have you made since you had the ticket? I mean, are you working differently, are you carding everybody, You're not carding everybody still?
No.
Okay.
You don't card everybody. No?
Well-
Well, would you card him?
What kind of card?
Check an ID.
ID.
Oh, yes, I do.
No, not that you have one.
No.
You check the ID that when a customer comes in and orders a drink.
Oh, I'm
want
so
a beer,
sorry.
you
I
say,
understand now. Yes, I
yeah.
check ID, especially when I see they looks like very young. So last time somebody here told me and say wherever how the people looks, my responsibility is ask for ID all the time, all the time. So I learned the lesson.
Yeah, 'cause,
Do you bartender or waitress?
Bartender. Mhm.
Okay. Anything further on there?
Sorry, my English is
No,
not very, very
that's
well, but
okay.
I understand.
That's all
I
right.
understand very good.
So, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Now it'll go in front of the council. What do we have?
17th? No,
First,
first.
October 1st. Okay, and then
So
the whole
this-
council votes on it. So you don't have your license yet?
No, no, yeah, I have just like a permit for a
No.
couple months.
No, it's,
It's temporary?
It's only
Oh.
a permit
Oh, you have a
for
temporary.
temporary, yes. Yeah.
okay. Okay,
Okay.
thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Gotta
Yeah,
watch
wait,
it.
did you understand that? You do
Yes,
have a
I
temporary
Yes,
permit.
temporary,
You
yeah.
did get, okay, I wanna make
Yeah.
sure you
I
caught
have
that,
like
because
2 more weeks, yeah.
yeah, okay,
Thank you.
very good.
And you haven't moved or anything?
Then
Your license will go in the mail
They're gonna close
to your address.
Okay.
You haven't moved lately?
No, no,
Okay.
I'm still there, okay?
okay.
I'm waiting for my license, and thank you so much for another opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, number 9 on the agenda, these people didn't respond to our new method of doing things where he says that you're gonna be up for denial? How's the word written?
It's in the letter, and it says that if you don't respond to Anne by that time, then you waive the right to prove your rehabilitation, and the license will likely be denied. Now, it's still up to you to determine whether or not you want to deny it, but this is the point where you make the formal action.
Is non-appearance a reason for denial?
Well, no, they didn't, they not only didn't appear, they didn't respond back or anything. So it tells me they're not interested, that interested. That's what I would think.
And then if they come back, Mr. Chair,
Yep.
if they come back and say, hey, what's going on with my license? Well, if we were to deny, we could could we reopen?
No.
You deny it
No.
based on their record, and then, which you previously have analyzed, and then you would be making the determination today, because they haven't come forward to present evidence of rehabilitation. Whenever we deny for a record, we have to allow them time for that rehabilitation information to be presented. They've got a bad record for whatever reason, we would make that motion based on that record, and then, because they're not here to present any information, we have nothing to change our opinion that was made previously, I guess.
I have another question, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
Yeah, did these individuals receive a notice that they should be here today now?
Yes, the letters are attached to their jackets, a copy.
So they got 2 letters. They got one letter saying you're coming before the committee, or was it just the
No,
one
it was
letter?
One letter.
Okay, one letter.
Yeah, saying that if you wanna show us rehabilitation, come on in at this meeting, and if they don't, then they don't wanna show us, and then we deny.
Mr. Chair?
Too, they do have the ability to apply again, so if you deny them once, they can come in and apply. then.
But they gotta pay again.
They gotta pay again, correct.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was getting at
Alderman.
earlier.
I'm looking at this individual for item number 9. He has a 1999 OWI and a 2001 OWI, and then 5 years ago, interfere with traffic signal. What is that? Spray painting a stop sign?
Must have been
yes.
something that was pleaded down, I
Yeah,
would imagine.
yeah, probably.
So-
It also looks
Yeah.
like a charge of OWI.
2, I thought there was 2, he said.
And
There's-
that one's still
there-
open.
On number 9,
Yep.
Joseph Piscatello. I have a 1999 and a 2001. Was there a more recent one? I'm not looking
Yeah,
at his.
so look at his record, yeah, cycle
Okay.
04, April 2015, arrest, Madison
Still
Police
open?
Department, OWI, it's still open, so we don't know
If it's a 3rd.
Oh, so that would be a 3rd.
if
Well, I don't,
charged.
I think we're going into this, but I think we already did this. That's why we called the person in, that we're going to deny.
But we did
I
call
think-
him in.
I think that if they didn't respond and they don't wanna come in, we should just deny.
I agree, Mr. Chair.
'Cause
So
that's the new system.
yeah,
So you're gonna make that motion?
I do. I move for denial on, what number is
Number
9? Yeah, 9 and 10.
Well, we'll just do them separately, just in case.
Okay.
there's any-
You know, can we make a record of why the
Do I have a record, I mean, a second?
Second,
Yeah.
lack of
Is that the
proof
rule?
of rehabilitation.
So record and lack of proof of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we have number 10.
Mr. Chair, just for the record, that the record is substantially related to the license activity, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So we have number 10, and everything's basically the same as number 9.
I
Except
move
the
for
person-
denial on number 10.
Do I have a second?
Second.
The
Uh,
record is worse even.
Is there any further
And is it
discussion?
Substantially related to license activity?
And it is, a review of that record shows it is definitely substantially related to the license activity.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Let's go back here. Robert Anderson?
Thank you.
No. it's not here yet. Then we have all the new ones that we have to go through?
Item number 11, I move approval.
No? You don't want to call anybody's?
Oh,
See, some have an OWI, the ones highlighted in
oh,
yellow
okay, I
here.
wasn't looking at that.
Yeah, that's what we do now. We just,
Oh,
they come
that's
in and
right, okay.
we say which ones that we call in and which ones that are gonna be okayed on the next agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman May.
I want to double check again. Does this include all the reports below it? So the summary for an individual
The
should
summary is
include.
like, think of it as the
This
cover
one-
letter, and
this
then
one has an
anybody, if
OWI.
that far right column says record found,
Mhm.
there'll be records below.
Right, but I'm saying at least the DOT notes, where it says DOT notes, you would have included that record. Like, do we have to read
Nope,
this?
that's the
and-
only record you will get for that. That's why,
I guess what I'm asking is this a summary of all the records that are attached? And I don't think it is.
Yes, because we missed
That
that
says
one.
no records found.
No. What I'm saying is, for example, okay, this gentleman or this individual here has these. Is that a summary of all of them?
No, so the DOT notes is the DOT check that the police department
so
do,
we have-
and
we
they,
still have to go through all of
they
them.
do the summary,
Yeah.
and then this one is there's one that says local notes, that's another check that they do, and then the final one is the works, which is the
I guess I
reports
just need
you
to
get.
know, I need to read more than just this, we need to go through other reports.
Yeah.
Which I'd done last night, but I just wanna, I actually skipped
Uh-huh.
this summary because
Just
I thought it
kinda-
was a summary of the ones below.
They just kinda run together.
But it's looking at both now.
Okay. See, this is what,
Well, I looked at the more difficult.
they send us that this is what we should go over.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move for approval on 11, but
Well-
with,
Minus.
yeah, so a minus the following.
Well, we don't, Timmy, am I right? We do approve it? We do approve the ones?
you can, the ones you wanna recommend to approval, you can go ahead and make those recommendations, and they'll
Okay.
appear on the next council meeting.
And we're gonna vote on them again.
No,
Or
no,
they're just-
we're gonna approve, we're gonna let a bunch of them through,
Right.
and
Right.
then we're gonna ask
Okay, this is-
for, I assume Marie Fleming to be pulled out?
Yeah, Marie Fleming.
Okay, so wait
and-
a second. You made a motion to approve, except for.
Except
go ahead.
for two individuals, number 1, Marie Fleming, and number 2, Joseph Rausch Chirac.
Right. Does anybody else have any of the other ones? Wait, that was a motion. I need a second here. Because whatever, well, we can open up this.
Second,
Second for discussion.
Okay, so,
for discussion.
okay. Did everybody go over them? Go over them and have any other ones?
Chair?
Alderman Rowe.
And there was discussion, if I may, Nick, about license revocations, driver's license, and that was gonna be included. Did I miss it? Or
should be
all these
included.
people have active driver's licenses?
That information should be included.
Whether they have a driver's license or not is
If-
supposed to be in here?
Well, we had discussed that at the
Yeah.
last meeting, that it was important to the committee, and I didn't see it. Maybe, like I said, this was new to me, it's new to the.
Mr. Chair, I can answer that.
Go ahead.
if you may.
Please.
If they have a suspended or revoked license, it would be noted under that DOT
Notes.
column.
This big column right in the
Correct.
center of the page,
Correct.
okay.
Oh, it's gonna-
Wait, on here?
Yep, the DOT notes, it would be if they had a suspended or revoked license, it
Right.
would be
Okay,
listed.
thank you.
It doesn't give us the current status of their license.
Only if
however.
they had a ticket for it, right?
Only, yeah, That's
Correct.
right.
It's only the tickets.
We wanna know
Only the
whether,
tickets.
we wanna know whether they have a license to drive a car today.
Correct.
So that if we see them walking out of a parked car,
When I talked to the
Yeah.
police department, they were just indicating that they were only gonna list it if it wasn't active. So I guess if it's not on
So
there,
they don't-
assume
this
that it
person
is
does not have a
active.
driver's license.
I'm
Not
questioning
on
that.
there.
So they were only gonna list
Oh.
suspended if
I
it
will.
was suspended or revoked.
Thanks for pointing
If
that
they
out.
don't
Sure.
list that, then it is an active license.
Okay, and that's important to me, because that shows a sign of rehabilitation.
Anytime you want.
Right.
If you
at least on
have,
the driving side
at
of it.
least on the driving side, which is
Mr. Chair.
obeying the law, yeah.
Alderman Road.
And I'm looking at, Maria Hamilton, no driver's license.
So, yeah, I don't know how to read that. Does she have a driver's license or not?
This is for,
She's
one of
been
the
cited,
old reports.
Fifth
At
one
least
down.
in 18,
Right.
right. Maria
No
Hamilton.
insurance. I don't see, it doesn't say.
She's been ticketed for operating while with a driver's license and no insurance a year
No,
ago.
what does that mean?
That was just a ticket she got.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it
she got
doesn't
more
give the
than one.
current status.
Driver's license and no insurance.
We have operating while suspended, operating after revocation.
Got 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 3 of them? Am I reading that correct? There's 3 of driving
Well,
without
WO is without, and DL, no,
driver's license.
and very current, no license.
Yeah,
What's
2018.
that? That's no insurance on there, so that's
Oh, I'm
3
sorry,
of them.
yes, insurance.
So in June
But
of
also the rest
18
of it says
and
without driver's license.
May of 18.
So,
Can we amend it and bring her in too?
Sure, I'll amend that, my motion, so, approval of the list minus Marie Fleming, minus Marie Hamilton, and minus Joseph Roush Chirac.
do you second that, Martin?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Is that handled?
That's it. Well, do we wanna notify them? Do we have to make, well, the statute says that if somebody gets denied, they have the chance to come in and prove rehabilitation. Are we denying them today then?
I thought that,
That's what I preferred. in
That's
the
what we need to
beginning.
do? So we need a motion to deny those 3?
Yeah, and then your motion is effectively held over until after you talk to them.
Okay.
And then
So-
passed on. It could change after talking to them or.
okay, but I don't have another jacket there, so how do you? How do you?
He's got a spare.
So this
Oh, it's a sports
document will
coat.
be placed
Not a
on
jacket.
file, and then the ones you pulled out will be separated into separate jackets.
Okay, but we gotta vote to deny today, or did we vote already?
Dan's got a suggestion.
If I could, on the minutes last time, a motion was made to recommend that this matter be placed on file based on the committee recommendations. And then I listed out the people's names and what the recommendation was, to either approve or to appear based on a denial.
So you're.
So this actual jacket gets placed on file, and then the approved names go on the approval list, and those that are soft denied, recommended denial, will get a letter to appear, or opportunity to
So
appear.
you can
Hold on.
mark placed on file on there, and then within the minutes. we
It
will
says
explain all
approve,
that.
well, but we're approving the other ones.
Well, we're
You're gonna go to
approving
the
the
approval
amended
agenda.
list.
Yeah, then go on the approval kind of, what's it called, the agenda that,
Consent agenda.
consent agenda, thank you. And then the other ones will not.
So this, okay,
Basically, what we're doing is we're taking action today to put them on one of
Right.
2 things, and then at our next meeting, we'll decide on those 2 things.
okay, but we just made a motion for approval.
For a bunch of people, not including those 3.
But we made a motion and a second for approval. So now I got that written down on this, so we have to vote on reconsideration on this. How's that?
Mr. Chair, I move for reconsideration.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna reconsider it now
And I move to place on file
instead of approve.
instead of approve that item in its entirety, but we know from our discussion how we want to proceed with it.
Second.
Second, so I got a motion and a second to place on file. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Rowe.
if I may, what spawned this change? Again, remind myself and maybe some of the committee members.
To some extent, I think there's two things, and Steve, feel free to jump in. One, my main issue is gonna be the change in the law in regards to rehabilitation and what we can consider in terms of their record. And so it set out a very cumbersome process, and it didn't give us much assistance in how to accomplish that process. And so in the past, we would kind of divvy people up, and then they would have to come in once or twice, maybe 3 times, to talk about the record or the rehabilitation. And this way, we are minimizing the amount of time people have to come back and forth and potentially miss a meeting and then they get denied for not showing up. That's one. 2 is kind of spurred on by the police department and the clerk's office. I'm not going to speak for you guys, but the amount of records that are coming in and going back and forth and the time and delay that's going on. And so I think it's twofold, law and process.
Okay, on the state level, who was behind that? Who sponsored that?
The Tavern
The
League.
I was
incredibly
gonna say, the Tavern League. yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's not really, it's in chapter 111, so it's employment discrimination generally.
Oh, okay.
And they separate it out in 111 for licensing and employment discrimination. So it does talk about licensing bodies being this body and how
Okay.
we can cooperate with licensing and records and everything else.
And I don't think it was spurred on by alcohol-related licenses.
Okay.
I think it was other state licenses that were.
Like hairdresser licenses and all
probably
that
something
stuff?
like that, doctor's license or
So strike what I said.
Frankly, I find a lot of issue in it because I feel like it was cobbled together, and I've pitched issues to the league and said, hey, how are you going to handle this one when there's a drug issue and we can't deny for a record on drug issues, but we can then immediately go ahead and revoke. And they said, oops, sounds like they got a screw up. I'm like, there's a lot of screw ups in here, frankly, guys. But it's how it's written right now, and I guess my job is to try to mitigate lawsuits when I can.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
hold me.
Respectfully, before a process is decided upon and placed on the committee, I'd like it to come to the committee.
As a
And
draft?
then, as a draft, and then we'll work through it. And I think we're kind of working on it because it was kind of thrown at us, this is the way we're doing it. But, in the future, I just want to make sure staff isn't telling council how to do things.
Well,
Maybe they suggested
He did.
we're okay with it.
I thought they did give us a. Steve,
good
they
lesson last time.
Well, they gave us what the parameters of what it's going to be like, but it's one of these things where, you gotta do it. I just think.
Oh, no, I agree,
Yeah.
it just felt kind of sprung on us.
No, I mean, you gotta do it in order to, like, I think down the road, these may become easier,
Once you get used to
but I
it,
don't know.
Yeah.
No,
The
they
process
don't.
can be whatever you guys want it to be, frankly. We just need to give people a
Well,
chance for rehabilitation.
We'll go back to
and-
do everything the way we used to.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that.
No.
I-
And so, I'm just
Even this
saying.
isn't set in stone. Whatever you got, if you tell us to do something different, I mean,
Well-
that's from my perspective. I can't speak for the clerk's office, but I don't really care how the process is, but I'll interrupt as kindly as I can when I feel like
My fear is I'm gonna miss something.
I don't
Well,
want to miss
one of
anything
the-
either. I
one
don't
of the-
want to make bad decisions. I make good decisions based on the law.
But am I correct in one of the reasons for doing some of this stuff is that if you have to go to court and represent somebody fighting the city, that you want to make sure you're on solid ground. By us
Exactly.
doing this here. Whereas if
Yeah.
maybe if we did it the old way, you wouldn't be.
The old way was less clean. I can foresee a situation where we'd say we denied somebody and they're going to say, hey, under 111, you need to deny them and give them a chance for rehabilitation. Where did that happen? And there was a few times where I don't know if I could point to that necessarily so clearly. Now there's a clear process. The process can change as much as you guys want it to. I don't really care what the process looks like as long as it's efficient, easy for you guys, it's not binding up the police department all that much or the clerk's office. And I'll interrupt kindly whenever I feel like we need it and to clarify things. So.
And Mr. Chair, my complaint wasn't with the process of how we're gonna be doing this, it's more the reports are more difficult to read.
Certainly.
That was my
Right.
complaint.
Okay, but we do have the motion and a second.
I thought we voted already, sorry.
Well, we did, but then we reconsidered. So, this is the place on file. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It's done. Mr. Anderson? Okay, he's not here yet, so we'll just hold this.
Camera
send him
pans
next
to
time,
empty
so.
seats.
Full crowd.
Well, there's nothing else,
Yeah.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to sit here?